180 communities are at risk right now in rural and coastal areas. So that many communities with all those people being affected, they're wondering how long they are going to sustain themselves living in those communities. So we need to do more research on the environment, the weather, and how it's going to affect our way of life. We depend on the water, the land, the air to survive.
The Northern Latitudes Partnerships is a network of groups that collaborate across geographic and disciplinary boundaries to help communities to be culturally, environmentally, and economically secure in a rapidly changing North. There are 3 regional partnerships. They include the Aleutian and Bering Sea Initiative, Western Alaska Partnership, and Northwest Boreal Partnership.
When we talk about this land, we're talking about Alaska and Canada. So we've got 2 different countries that often are sharing, watersheds. They're sharing, there are caribou herds that migrate back and forth. There are people, Indigenous people, who have ancestry, language, culture that's related, but we've sort of created these artificial divides with boundaries of whether it's an international line or who owns what land. So the idea and the value of these partnerships is to essentially get out of that framework where we see ourselves divided and instead come together, realizing that the land itself is a whole intact system. It's all one, and we are all connected through it.
With the Northern Latitudes Partnership, I think the biggest value is that we all come from different agencies and tribal entities and universities with different goals, but at our core as a collective, we're all coming together to talk about land and how we would like to steward it for the future generations.
The value is the ability to bring people together and cooperate and talk about common issues, common concerns, and common solutions.
Having a lot of the same focus, a lot of great people, knowledge, everybody's heart's in the right place. The collaboration, the sharing of information, it gets vibrant, it gets conversations going. We're all very interwoven together.
As long as there's another generation coming into being, the duty and responsibility of speaking towards the safety, security, and health of that generation exists.
This regional collaborative work is guided by 7 overarching goals. Protect cultural heritage and ways of life for future generations. Sustain hunting and fishing resources. Promote equitable collaboration between partners and communities. Guide landscape-scale projects. Mitigate disaster impacts and help communities adapt to and mitigate rapid environmental changes driven by the climate crisis. Support local decision-making, and reduce risk to human lives.
No single agency has the resources to address the challenges that the North Country is facing, and so collaboration is essential.
Everybody has the same concern and are all working on the same project, so why not partner together to reduce costs and increase expert opportunity of being able to get a better understanding?
I think the most important accomplishment is we've established a network of cooperators that can convene together in a neutral fashion, involving communities, involving citizen science, as well as a way of blending Western science with traditional ecological knowledge from the Indigenous people of the area. And so we'll be having a workshop to look at Indigenous-led planning efforts on the lands that the Indigenous people manage and then utilize on, mostly in Canada it's called Crown lands, the public lands. And so there's lessons that we can learn there and apply to situations in Alaska as well.
One specific project, the Alaska Geofence Project, helps coastal tribes and other managers as they try to understand the presence of large marine vessel activity near their communities, within subsistence areas, or other types of sensitive areas.
One of the most significant accomplishments that we have made is developing a framework for monitoring change at landscape scale. We worked for several years and through a number of interagency workshops to identify the types of environmental factors or features that could be effectively monitored that would indicate how climate change is impacting the environment and the economy in that huge Northwest Boreal region.
With our First Nation, we've been starting to work and collaborate nation to nation together, but we are starting to look at our old ways of living, and we're looking back to how our relationship to land and water is so significant, and we put it into all the departments within our government. And how does that fit? So we are developing an Indigenous land relationship plan.
With all the research that our Western scientists and our traditional knowledge carriers are doing a wonderful job in collecting the data on the conditions that we live in today to have the communities come together and have healthy communities.
So these partnerships are resilient like the salmon, like the other species in this Arctic environment. And I think that people realize that we're in this vast remote area and it's expensive to get work done. We're small when we're separate and alone, but we're strong when we're together as a group.